Did I date Connie Chung or not? Certain former U.S. president is reputed to have said, under very important circumstance, well, that all depends on the meaning of the word is. Similarly, it all depends on the meaning of the word date. But it's a fun story. I just think it's a fun story. I mentioned in my video about my old friend J. Brooks Spector, there were a lot of interesting characters in the Honors Lounge at the University of Maryland in the fall of 1967 and the spring of 1968. Some of them illustrious, some of them infamous. And then there was me. Transparent beard in those days. Lots of length, not much density. Long, not really long hair yet. I think it's getting good in the back. You know, that stage. Hippie hat, hippie shirt. See by his outfit that he is a hippie. And in amongst all of that, there was a very cute girl. I would say a very cute little girl, but that seems to imply underage, and she was certainly not underage. She was a year or so older than me, but she was little. She was Chinese. Now, I have always had a partiality to Chinese girls. I think a big part of that is compensation for my prosagnosia. Prosagnosia, I think that's how it goes. Means I'm not good with faces, which means I'm drawn to the face that is so completely different from everybody else in the room that at least I can memorize that one. Maybe from a very traumatic thing that seems to have happened when I was very young, but that's another story. But I've always been attracted to Chinese girls. And they typically are only one per each given crowd. There was only 2 in my high school, and there was only 1 in the Honors Lounge. And her name was Connie. I just knew her as Connie. The Chinese girl that I tried to make friends with, she didn't have a lot of friends there in the Honors Lounge. She kind of hung out by herself, and she was friendly to me, and so I'll tell that part of the story later. But I, moved on, and I tried to talk her out of a decision she was making. She was a biology major. I was a botany minor, considering changing to being a botany major or something equivalent, and probably should have. But she was going to change her major to journalism, and I tried to talk her out of it, but she wanted to make changes in the world and whatever. I thought that the journalism department was a load of, even though I was in the SDS, there were, left-wing wannabes at the journalism department. So, we disagreed on that, but we were friends. But, I left the University of Maryland years later and left the Honors Lounge after 1 year. Never saw her again. Went through a large part of my life, for various reasons, being against television, and I would go decades with never watching television, except maybe sitting down at my parents' house when my parents had a TV on watching. I didn't know who's who or what's what on TV, but one day my mother calls me up, 80s, 90s, somewhere in there, and says, "You were in the honors program at the University of Maryland." And I'm going, "Well, Yeah. Said, she says, were you in the, I don't know what, maybe she's mentioned something about the Honors Lounge, but she said, in the Honors program, did you ever meet Connie Chung? And I'm going, Connie Chung, Connie Chung. Why do you ask? She says, oh, I mean, you know, the anchor, the what? You know, the T. What are you talking about, Mom? Well, we've got this League of Women Voters program, and we had a special speaker, and it was Connie Chung, who's the top CBS News anchor. Oh, is that so? And she said that she was University of Maryland at such and such years. That would have been when you were there in the honors program. You would say you were in the, oh, little Chinese girl? Yeah, little Chinese girl. That Connie Chung. Oh yeah, Mom, I used to date her. Ken, don't joke like that. That's not funny. Mom, I used to date her. But what do you mean by date? See, I would say to her on a hey, Thursday or something, hey, you gonna be on campus over the weekend? Well, yeah. Can I take you to the student union movie? Yeah. So then I'd call my father and I'd say, hey, I'm not coming home this weekend. I'm going to stay in the dorm over the weekend. Normally that was too lonely, but I had a date. So I would show up at, where was she? Cumberland Hall, the girls' honors dorm. I would show up at Cumberland Hall at the main lobby on Saturday night at 7 p.m. and I would say, I'm asking for Connie Chung. And they would call upstairs, Connie Chung, you have a young man here to see you. And she says, she gives her regrets. She has a headache. All right. I'd go back. 3 weeks later, I'd try again. Yeah, I'll go with you this time. I go to the lobby. She doesn't want to come down. She's got a headache. Decades later, I learned that in Chinese culture, you never say no. You just say yes in a way that the person understands that it really means no. And I'm not going to get into the cross-cultural arguments of it now, and I'm an American and I play by American rules until I learn the new rules. And I haven't learned those rules yet. So you can judge for yourself. Did I date Connie Chung? Well, it all depends on what you mean by date. But she was a smart girl to stay upstairs.